live here in the War Room is Curtis Ellis. He's a senior advisor with America First Policies. That is the number one and only political action committee that is sanctioned by President Trump's reelection.
Except no imitations.
Campaign. And Curtis Ellis, you just heard his ad that he cut there. It's Curtis Ellis Minute. We just launched that without a lot of fanfare, Curtis.
We have a rendezvous with destiny, John.
Yes, we do.
I kept that rendezvous. I kept that appointment by coming here today.
That's right. You did come here. You're in Bannon's basement. What do you think?
Oh, man.
The War Room.
I got my flak jacket on and my helmet. This is great. We're the C rations are stacked up. The MREs are stacked up. This is a real war room.
I mean, you come in down here. It's in the basement.
It's a bunker.
It is a bunker.
It
is a bunker. We set this. What do you think of this studio we set up here?
I love it.
That's
love
pretty
it.
good,
you
right?
got the egg cartons on the wall to muffle the sound, and it's wonderful.
We set this up.
It's like my garage band studio.
Back in the day.
Back in the day. Yeah.
Right. Well, let's get. Look, I'm going to talk about China. You did a piece the other day that I want to get to. Curtis Ellis. Also, we can open this up for callers for Curtis. That could be a segment too. Calls for Curtis.
Callers for Curtis.
888-480-JOHN.
We don't screen the calls here, so everybody gets on. It's great.
I don't think I've screened a call in my life.
No.
I just don't believe in it. You want to call up and call me an a-hole, that's fine.
That's great.
As long as it's legal.
It's called great radio.
I don't get fined.
Right.
We take all sides. And we take all advertisers, as I said in the piece the other day in the Washington Post. Look, I'm in the business to sell ads, period. So I don't really care who it is. John Fredericks Radio Network. Great to have you with us on the John Fredericks Radio Network, Curtis. So listen, let's get to the impeachment fiasco.
Okay.
Yesterday, Sondland, boy, he threw everybody under the bus, didn't he?
Oh, man. He was
what was up with that?
Yeah, he's a guy who gave a lot of money, and he thought he was going to get a great ambassadorship.
$1 million.
$1 million.
To the inauguration.
Right. And he thought that was going to get him an ambassadorship, and it was going to be a nice, cushy job. He goes to Brussels. I hear they have good food in Brussels. He'll eat well for, 4 or 8 years. And that's what he thought. And then it's like, what did I get myself into? And he was very upset that he got himself into, he actually had to do something, and he didn't know what he was doing. And then there was this, Sondland is the perfect case of witness tampering. And I don't know why Adam Schiff didn't do something about it, because he starts out every one of these sham kangaroo court hearings by saying, we will accept no intimidation or retaliation against witnesses. Yet the very day, or like the day before, or whatever, before this guy even took the stand, Earl Blumenauer, one of the congressmen from Portland area, Oregon, from coastal Oregon, Earl Blumenauer put out a statement saying everyone should boycott Sondland's hotels. See, Sondland owns a bunch of hotels, including one in Portland. He said everyone should boycott Sondland's hotels until he does A, B, and C.
This was a congressman.
And this was a congressman who said it.
With the hotels in that district.
Yes.
So he was putting thousands of his constituents' jobs and livelihoods at risk, calling for a hotel boycott.
Yeah, against a witness. That is witness tampering.
Where was that?
Yes.
Where was the lamestream, lying, fake news media?
That is a clear-cut case of witness tampering. We are going to retaliate against you unless you do what we tell you.
Right, which is tell us what we want to hear.
Yeah.
And has that been picked up by any news
Nobody.
network anywhere? Did the fake news pick that up?
No.
War Room hasn't even picked it up.
And nobody in the hearing, from what I heard, I mean, I tried to stay awake through the whole thing, but it was very difficult.
Painful.
Well, pain keeps you awake. This was narcoleptic. I didn't hear anybody bring that up. I mean, that is a clear-cut case of witness tampering. It is unbelievable.
It only got brought up by one Republican one time, and and that was it. And like nobody followed up on it.
Did he call it witness tampering?
No, but he should have said it. He just said that he said he felt sorry for him.
Yeah, he felt sorry for the guy. He said, you've been put under pressure. Your economic, your financial, your business is under pressure, and so that's why you're throwing everybody under the bus. You're hoping to get a free pass. I love when Jim Jordan asked him, why didn't you put that in the opening statement, where President Trump said, I don't want a quid pro quo, I don't want anything. Why didn't you put that in your opening statement?
He had no answer.
Yeah. this is, you got to stand up to bullies. He thought if I'm nice to the bullies, they'll call off they'll call off the demonstrators and the protesters, and so I'll
tell them what they want to hear.
Yeah, tell them what they want to hear as much as I can, and
then
that never works.
And the fake news just ran with it. Even though his first statement, he said there was a quid pro quo. He was referring to the meeting at the White House office, which has nothing to do. I mean, the president can meet with anybody or not at his discretion. It had nothing to do with aid. And, of course, as soon as the Republicans started asking him legitimate question, he caved. And then, of course, it came out that the president said, I don't want anything. I just want him to do what he said he was going to do. I mean, the whole thing it's frightening to me looking. But when I got up today, it's like, I can't believe we're even in this place.
Yeah.
How do we get here? Now, I want to change gears
because
Bannon's coming out.
He'll do a whole hour on impeachment. He's going to take this thing apart. I mean, I was just talking to some of his researchers. They've got incredible stuff. I'm not going to spoil the next show by telling you what they just told me, but it's just amazing stuff.
Yeah, we say this is a war room because you walk in here. I mean, I'm in the studio part of it, but right in the adjacent part of the basement, he's got, 3 or 4 people in there?
Yeah, researchers.
Right now, researching, and this is serious research. This is not just research. Do a Google. Right. This is just not a Google thing. This is serious
not
research.
A Google thing.
Yeah, so he's got paid researchers in there so they can get the truth out. I want to get to a tough subject. We're with Curtis Ellis, Senior Policy Advisor for America First Policies, former he was in the Trump administration in the Labor Department. He got ousted with all the other loyal Trump supporters. We don't have time to get into that again now.
No.
But Hong Kong.
Yes.
The president has shown no leadership. This is a transformational moment, Curtis, for President Trump in Hong Kong. You got these students that are at the point of a gun that just want freedom.
Right.
And
that's right.
No leadership by President Trump whatsoever. Huge opportunity gone by the wayside. He's shown nothing on it. And now there's concern that Trump doesn't want to get involved because he doesn't want to aggravate President Xi because he's in the middle of a huge trade negotiation. True or false?
This is bigger than trade. This is about the future of the United States, the continued existence of Western industrial democracies. This is our rendezvous with destiny, how we deal with China. We are back now, and we're back to like 1975. Let me fill in the history here. Yesterday, Congress passed the Hong Kong Freedom and Democracy Act, which requires sanctions against any Chinese government officials, Chinese Communist Party officials, who are involved in human rights violations against the Hong Kong protesters. It calls for Congress to give an annual review that Hong Kong has not had its human rights violated, that the rights of Hong Kong under the agreement, one country, two systems, have not been violated. We are now back to the Jackson-Vanik Amendment in 1975, where under pressure from human rights activists and international religious freedom activists and the American Jewish community, Congress passed unanimously, without objection, the Jackson-Vanik Amendment, which said we cannot enter into a trade agreement with the Soviet Union unless they allow the Jewish people in the Soviet Union full human rights. So it linked human rights, religious freedom, and trade. We cannot trade with any nation. It didn't specify the Soviet Union. It said we cannot enter into a trade agreement with a non-market economy that does not respect religious freedom, including the right to emigrate and leave, exit visas. Henry, 1975, 1974, it took years to get this done. Henry Kissinger opposed it. He said, this is going to mess with the world economy. And Congress said...
Same thing we're hearing now.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing we're hearing now. And Congress said, F you. We're doing it because it's the right thing to do. We will pass on the 30 pieces of silver, if that's what it means, because we're going to stand on what's right. And Congress passed it. Jerry Ford, President Ford at the time, was ready to veto it, but he saw that the veto would be overridden because it was unanimous. There was a veto-proof majority in both houses of Congress. And that's exactly what happened with the Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act. It passed unanimously in the Senate. It passed with one vote. I think there was like one dissenting vote in the House. If the president doesn't sign this, he could well have his veto overridden. If he does a pocket veto and just doesn't veto it but doesn't sign it, that's a pocket veto. Congress can bring it up again.
Why has the president shown no leadership in this issue?
Well, it's not accurate to say he's shown no leadership. I mean, he came out and said, if they don't end it, if Beijing ends this violently, that's going to make a trade deal very difficult. You know, the president always plays it cagey, plays it both ways. He doesn't want to box himself in either way. And sometimes what you want is you want to say, well, Mr. Xi, look, Congress did this. You know, let somebody else take the lead, and then you can close the deal.
Because he's still in the negotiations.
Yeah.
Well, yesterday he said he was not happy with the progress made. I had Peter Navarro on my show Tuesday, live at the White House. My hero, Peter Navarro, as you know. Great to have him on. And he was saying it was moving along, but they were very patient. I had the chief agricultural negotiator on that reports up to Robert Lighthizer, Ambassador Dowd. Get this, he said that he had spent over 150 hours one-on-one with his Chinese counterpart negotiating the farm agricultural piece of their trade deal. And he says they can spend up to 3 or 4 hours arguing over every word in what is going to be a 100-page document.
I got a
that was Ambassador Dowd, Gregory Dowd.
Yeah, I can believe that. I saw a picture of those negotiations. They were out there counting soybeans. There was this huge pile of soybeans in the middle of the table. They were counting them out one by one.
I can believe it.
Like one for you, one for me, one for you, one for me.
I think what he was saying is that, you know, when you negotiate with the Chinese, like they have no timetable.
No.
They have no deadline.
No.
And, you know, part of the fear
is 5,000-year culture, right?
They just outlast this administration.
That's what they do. And they outlast their negotiators. I was talking to someone who's negotiated many deals with the Chinese. And what they do is they get you right up to the edge where you think you've got a deal and everything's worked out. And then they pull back at the last minute because... that's one of their negotiating tactics. They wear you down, and when you think you've got everything worked out and you've told the Home Office back home in Cincinnati, we've got the deal, it's all done, get ready, buy your plane tickets, come over for the signing agreement and the photo op, then they pull back because they figure you're so invested in this deal that you're going to go ahead and make the deal on less than ideal terms.
Because you're invested.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's like remember 2 years ago they came to the White House. They met with Steve Mnuchin, who thought it was like business as usual.
Yeah,
and the Treasury Secretary said, "Oh, we have a deal.
Yeah,
they're going to buy $100 million worth of soybeans. Problem solved." And Hannity got on TV that night and said, "Hey, we solved it."
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Remember that? That was like 3 years ago.
Yeah,
and you and I were going crazy.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
and then the president said, "Wait a minute, this is not what we're doing." I'm glad they're buying the soybeans, but that was business. That was the old way, right? Come in, get a deal, put it out to the media, go on to something else. That's how the Chinese have been able to screw us for 50 years.
That's right. And look, everybody's got to get real here. This is not about trade. They are using trade instead of missiles to destroy the United States. They are draining our lifeblood by draining our industries, draining our technology, draining our research and development. All of that is being moved to China. All of our companies are not just moving the factories. They're not just moving the sweatshop, garment sewing shops. They're moving their high tech and the research and development is now going to China. We will be left a hollow shell, drained of our blood. And China is a dictatorship. It's a communist. It's authoritarian. They will tell us what to think. Look, here in America, when you're a kid, they say, your parents say, what do you want to be when you grow up? Mm-hmm. In China, they say, we're going to tell you what you're going to do when you grow up. And that's the vision they have to run the world. They want the 21st century to be the Chinese century. They will be the leading power in the world. We will all be vassal states. And we will be unable to counter them militarily. They will win without firing a shot. That's the game plan here, folks. It's not about how many soybeans we sell them.
Define a vassal state.
A vassal state is we are a supplicant. We are inferior. We are. Please give us something. Please let we pay tribute to the king. We pay tribute to the leading power on earth, and that will be China. That's their game plan. The United States will sell them soybeans, we'll sell them iron ore from the Iron Range, we'll sell them natural gas, and they will make all the finished goods, all the high-tech stuff, everything. And they'll make the steel, they'll make the aluminum, they'll make the manufactured goods. We'll just sell them the raw materials. That's the third world economy, where we sell the basic raw materials, the natural resources, and they make everything. They
control the supply chain.
Yes.
Right. I mean, that's one of the things that you and Steve Bannon have been saying forever is that, the key to this, the big key to this trade negotiations with China is to get our supply chain back in the United States. So we have the resources and the manufacturing where that supplies now has been outsourced to China. And
right.
They control the product manufacturing, which means they control the jobs.
That's right. They control the jobs.
And the quality of the product.
And the quality of the product and the technology and the innovation. So people say, the free traders say, well, look, if China wants to subsidize its industries and so we just get cheap consumer goods, I think that's a pretty good deal. If they want to subsidize the production and sell it to us cheap, I think we're getting the good end of the deal. We're getting cheap trinkets. They're getting the factories.
Right.
They're getting the technology, the productive capacity. That's a very bad deal. Mm-hmm. It's like when we bought Manhattan Island for $24 worth of glass beads, and Peter Stuyvesant or Peter Minuet or one of those Peters from a million years ago, the Indians got $24 worth of glass beads. They got Manhattan.
It's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, pretty good deal. That's
so
if what's
you're
at
the
stake.
Chinese now and you're looking at what do we have here? We've got like a minute and a half. So if you're the Chi-Coms, you're the Chi-Con government, and you're looking at these impeachment hearings and you're looking at all those things, and you see the Democratic debate last night, 10 people on the stage.
Yeah.
One of them is going to be the nominee.
Yeah.
One of them could win. Every one of them has said, I'll get rid of Trump's trade deal. It's gone. So if you're the Chi-Coms, the communist government, what on earth incentive do you have to do anything with President
You have
Trump?
no incentive whatsoever.
You're going to wait it out because Kamala Harris got on the stage in Oakland and said, elect me president, the tariffs are done the next day.
That's right. And Peter Buttigieg, whatever his name is, Mayor Pete, thank you. Mayor Pete says, we shouldn't be in this trade war to begin with. We never should have started this trade war. Excuse me, China started this trade war.
Right.
So he's, McKinsey consultant. These are the people who told everybody, move to China. It's great. You're going to make $1 zillion billion. And that's McKinsey, the McKinsey consulting corporate consultants. That's what Mayor Pete is. He's not a mayor of some South Bend or North Bend or Bend Over or whatever. He is a McKinsey corporate consultant cut from the same cloth as Robert Rubin and Larry Summers and the free trade, slave trade lobby. That's what he is. And when he's given this leading question about Trump's trade war, he says we shouldn't be doing this. We never should have started it.
They're all part of the global Goldman Sachs lobby. Only good person that ever came out of Goldman Sachs is Steve Bannon, and he's with us now.